the appropriate disposition of individuals currently detained by the Department of Defense at Guantanamo, and promptly to close the detention facility at Guantanamo consistent with the national security and foreign policy interests of the United States and the interests of justice, I hereby order. And we then provide the process whereby Guantanamo will be closed no later than 1 year from now.
There are two grim markers for 166 men. This represents 11 years of hopeless, brutal detention without realistic prospect of charge, thousands of miles away from families, and is for a great number of men producing the sort of expected debilitating psychological and physical effects of indefinite detention.
86 of these men have been cleared for release, but they continue to be held?
Precisely. So the Guantanamo task force that Obama initiated as part of this first-year executive order brought together all of the relevant agencies to evaluate the detainees, defense, state, CIA, NSA, and determined that a certain number of them unanimously should be cleared from Guantanamo. And 86 of those individuals remain, that is, with a conclusion that they are no threat to the United States or the allies. And so it is a particularly grotesque moral failure to continue to detain people the jailer itself believes should no longer be detained.
Obama's signing statement casts the restrictions like forbidding federal trials for Guantanamo captives as an encroachment on executive powers. He said the law he signed, quote, substitutes the Congress's blanket political determination for careful and fact-based determinations made by counterterrorism and law enforcement professionals of when and where to prosecute Guantanamo detainees. Removing that tool from the executive branch undermines our national security. Moreover, this provision would, under certain circumstances, violate constitutional separation of powers principles. What does a signing statement mean? He still signed the bill.
Precisely. I mean, put in this way, it's little more than a press release. And these arguments have merit, but they should have been acted on in the form of a veto, which he threatened to do last year and failed to do, and threatened again to do this year and failed to do. And it's just another sort of example of a failure of his political will to take concrete steps to act on his promise to close Guantanamo.
Talk about the reauthorization of the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, overall.
So it's a Defense Department funding bill, which I think includes restrictions on the ability of the president to try people in the United States or transfer them to foreign countries. And the most problematic provisions with respect to closing Guantanamo are restrictions on the ability of the president to transfer, for example, these 86 cleared men either to their home countries or to third countries ready and willing to take them. They include some provisions that will allow the president to certify that someone should be transferred home anyway. But like his failure to veto the bill, in the past year, he's failed to act on that limited authorization to return people who've been cleared.